those are verses, I guess that I deserve it. I made a mistake, so keep it on the surface and tell me that was worth it, all the ways that it would break. 'Cause I feel love throwing it all away. I'm sleepless, knowing you're all the same. How do I feel? How do I feel? It's taken all the ivy from its road. Does it feel anymore like home? I made the walk from Albany to Rome, but it feels there's nowhere more to go. 'Cause I feel love throwing it all away. I'm sleepless.
All right, if we could have everybody go ahead and return to their seats, we're going to get started. Hello again, everyone. All right, so let's go ahead and get started and induct our 2018 Hall of Fame class. Before we begin, though, I would like to take a moment and recognize all of our Hall of Famers who are here tonight. Can anyone who is a member of the Hall of Fame class, including this year's, because you are Hall of Fame members now and forever, if anybody is a Hall of Famer, would you please stand for a round of applause? Thank you to each and every single one of you for all of your contributions to our sport and for everything that you've done for us as an organization and our sport as a whole. After tonight, our National Softball Hall of Fame class grows to 412 of the most elite of the elite, so you all are joining a very prestigious class. I also would like to take a moment to recognize all of the family and friends of our inductees. If you are a family member or a friend or former coach of one of our inductees, can you also please stand for a round of applause? Because each and every one of you have also contributed to their success on and off the field. So you all deserve a round of applause. At this time, I would like to welcome our president, John Gavea, up to the podium to give us a welcome.
Thank you, Cody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It's my pleasure to be here, standing in front of you at this great event. It was really great to see all the family members and friends stand up. At one time, we used to do this at the stadium during the Hall of Fame tournaments, and I've been to a couple of those events, and it was a nice event, but what would happen was we had a bunch of youth teams playing, and they'd be done, and we'd do the ceremony, they'd be gone. So we're in this 8,000 seat stadium with 25 people in the stands clapping for the Hall of Famers, which was nice, but it was kind of awkward. So when we chose to do it this way now and do it on a Saturday night, it's great to have all the family and friends here, so thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. And congratulations to our class of 2018. Without the players, coaches, managers, spectators, umpires, everybody that makes our game what it is, we have no game. So thank you for being part of USA Softball, and congratulations on attaining the highest honor that USA Softball can give you. Great job. Thanks to Cody and all the staff of USA Softball for helping put this together. It's not easy to put an event like this together, right, Cody? Right? And there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that happens that a lot of us don't even know about. So how about a hand for Cody Warren and the rest of the staff that put this together. Thank you, Cody. Also like to thank the Hall of Fame committee, our chairperson, Stu Alderman. They have a very difficult job. You know, we lock them in a room and we don't let them out until all the shouting's done and they make their decision. It's not easy, I know. And there's some tough votes and some tough debate and tough conversations. So none of you got in easy, just so you know. There was a lot of talk about it and a lot of work. So Stu, thank you, and thanks to all the Hall of Fame committee members for what you do. Thank you. Our class of 2019, in the past we had announced it at this event. We changed that up a little bit. The Hall of Fame committee is not going to meet till tomorrow, and it'll be announced at the general session taking place tomorrow afternoon, because tonight is about our 2018 Hall of Fame members. So we're going to do it that way and announce it in front of the council tomorrow. Before I go, I just want to throw out a couple of shout outs. We have a couple of our former executive directors here I want to recognize. 15 years, Mr. Ron Radaganda. Ron. And a very special guest, and if you don't know this man, you don't know softball, probably the person that was the most responsible for getting us into the Olympics. Way back when, in 1996, he was our executive director for 35 years. In the back there, Mr. Don Porter. Don. It's great to see you, Don. Thank you. And Jean, his wife Jean's here too. Jean, thank you. Thank you for coming. All right, that's all I have. Let's get on with the inductions. Thank you.
Thank you, President Gavea. All right, let's get this thing going. So, our first inductee for the National Softball Hall of Fame class of 2018 is a pitcher whose unconventional start in the game did not deter his path to glory. A staple of the home savings and loan squad for 13 years, Dick Brubaker brought one of the best physical and mental approaches to the game of men's fast-pitch softball. He played in his first USA Softball National Championship at the age of 36, but it didn't take long for the Illinois native to make a name for himself. With a lightning-fast delivery, his trademark grunt and hard drop ball would baffle batters at the plate well into his final season in 1984. In his career, he amassed a 337-63 record and a stifling 0.63 ERA, 4 times earning All-American honors while finishing runner-up at the Men's Major Fast Pitch National Championship 5 times. These notable accolades also earned him a spot on our 1972 men's national team, which earned silver at the WBSC Men's World Championship. Tonight, Dick Brubaker becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Brubaker.
I played my last year of competition in 1985. So I've been away from the game for, I guess that's 30-some years. After the game, I spent several years in my business, sold it, retired in 1977. Spent the last 8 years trying to pay back my wife for a little of the time that I was away. Try to continue to be a good father and a great grandfather. My wife and I have been married 58 years. We had 6 children. 5 of our adult children are here. Our eldest son, Brett, passed away about 5 years ago due to an accident, but he loved softball and it was a pitcher also. But anyway, those 8 years, my emphasis on being a good grandpa, father, Anyway, kind of pushed softball back in the shadows. Mid-June last year, I got this telephone call telling me I'd been elected to the Hall of Fame. And as I sat back from that, kind of think about it a little bit, I realized there was a rush of memories that returned to my mind. Actually, my complete base softball career covers 55 years. Part of my career, my ASA career, was the last 13 years. But I said it became increasingly apparent to me that softball was really an important part of my life. And so tonight, I'm going to pick one small segment of that to see if I can have you get a feel of what it meant to me. I have to start with telling you a little bit about me. I grew up in a rural area in northwest Illinois. My mom and dad were tenant farmers. Neither had finished high school. I went to a small high school. My graduating class was number 34, 34 students. I did get away to college. And when my mom and dad took me away to school for the first time, I was farthest away I'd ever been in my life, 92 miles. With that, you can obviously, I lived in a small world. So what I'm taking a segment of my softball career and hope you will understand what it means to me, what softball meant to me. At the time I did this, at the time I experienced these things, I didn't have this realization. But when I look back on it, I realized how fortunate I was to have the opportunities that softball presented to me. First of all, I experienced being able to travel across the breadth of the United States. I played ball from Washington to Florida, from Southern California from Southern California to the New England. I traveled throughout Canada. I would say that I had the experience of visiting at least 8 or 9 major cities in Canada. I found out in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, that softball is not the most popular sport there. It's curling. And then I said, well, what is curling? I found out. In 1972, I was privileged to be a member of the USA National World Tournament team. Then we played I got to visit the Philippines in Manila. I wish I had more time because that was a very impactful time, and I won't take the time to get into it other than the fact that I wish I could. In 1978, the Peterbilt team from Seattle invited me to go with them to tour in New Zealand and play against the best players in New Zealand. But I also found out from a sheep rancher that there are more sheep in New Zealand than people. In 1980, our home savings team, along with a team from Saskatoon, were invited to spend 2 weeks touring Japan. I got to ride the bullet train, and I found out that beds in Japanese hotels are very, very small. Obviously, in fact, there were many, many stories that I would love to have the time to tell you. Teammates, opponents, some of them were about umpires. But anyway, I'm going to close by just one story that's very dear to me. We were playing in Santa Clara, California in a tournament, and a team from Jamaica had been invited to come and play. Jamaica, they're noted for speed, not softball. And as it turned out, they weren't very good softball players. But they had brought with them a steel drum band. And they would play out, they would set up out in center field, and they would play between innings. I'd never seen us or never heard of a steel drum band, but I want to tell you something. They were terrific.
He is correct. The beds in Japan are very small, so I can concur that statement. Our second inductee of the evening is a three-time Olympian who will go down in history as the most prolific power hitter to ever play the game. One of the most feared hitters to ever step up to the plate, Crystal Bustos is considered one of the all-time greats. Between 1999 and 2008, she helped Team USA to 2 Olympic gold medals, an Olympic silver medal, 3 Pan American Games gold medals, and a World Championship gold medal. Getting her first run with the women's national team at the 1999 Pan American Games, she made an immediate impact as she led the team with 18 hits, 3 home runs, and 15 RBI. She would continue to be a valuable asset to the American offense, compiling an Olympic career stat line of 26 runs scored, 14 home runs, 24 RBI, and a .372 batting average. A rugged slugger, she also has the distinction of holding 2 individual Olympic records, the most RBI with 10 and the most home runs with 5. And she, along with her 2004 Olympic teammates, were inducted into the U.S. Olympic Hall of Fame for their outstanding performance at the 2004 Olympic Games. Tonight, Crystal Bustos becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame now and forever. It is my pleasure to bring to the stage Hall of Famer Crystal Bustos.
Bad to the bone. All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good night. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm not much for writing my speech because I can't read that well anyway, so I would probably mess it all up. So I just wanted, one, say thank you to everybody with USA Softball, especially playing on the national team and the Olympic team. We traveled to a lot of your venues, and without your guys' support and our sponsor support, I wouldn't be here. So I want to say, one, thank you to everybody out here for, one, getting us to where we were able to play in the Olympics, but 2, always supporting us in every venue we went to. I'd like to thank my mom and dad for coming. Wasn't expecting this part. So they've always been there for everything. So I want to thank them. With that being said, my teammates, my coaches, my ASA, obviously USA, but ASA from the beginning, has always been the platform for us to play. So I want to thank ASA. Ooh, I didn't think I was going to cry. Because if you know me, I don't cry. So for the most part, but no, with ASA softball, and especially in California, growing up, that was everything. Going to nationals, winning trophies, and trading pins, and being in Oklahoma with a broken arrow, and all the way down to Southern California. And I mean, shoot, we went to Illinois, we went everywhere. So just playing ball, it's all I ever lived for, it's all I ever knew. So at the end, in 2008, when I left my cleats at home plate, I didn't, one, think this would ever happen. So this is a huge honor, and I just want to say thank you for everything that everybody does for all of us.
Our third inductee of the night is an avid supporter of the game who has sponsored some of the most dominating teams in slow-pitch softball history. John Daniels, or JD as many call him, has been supporting teams in the top echelon of men's slow-pitch softball since the mid-1990s. Having served as a player, manager, and sponsor, he captured his first national title as a sponsor of long haul TPS at the Men's Major Slow Pitch Championship and followed with his second in the division in the year 2000. The following year, he sponsored what many consider to be one of the greatest teams assembled in the men's super slow pitch division, the long haul Taylor Brothers Shen Valley TPS team. That team accomplished what only one other team in the history of slow pitch softball has done, which is win every major national championship there was to win in their class to capture the Grand Slam in slow pitch softball. In all, JD has sponsored 9 USA Softball National Championship teams. Tonight, JD becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, John Daniels.
I'm obviously not very good at this, but I would like to start off by a quick moment of silence for four of the greatest people to ever be around softball. Bill Taylor, my co-sponsor of the 2001 Taylor Brothers Long Haul softball team, Shen Corp. As Cody said, it was one of the very best teams, and Bill is and probably should have been up here with me because very instrumental. J.C. Phelps, great softball player. Ryan Robbins, and Rod Hughes, all players that had played for us and have lost their lives far too soon. So a quick moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. I first want to start off by thanking the ASA for providing such great platforms. Out of the 28 or more world titles that we've won as a softball team, I can honestly say the ASA is the most coveted events that we've ever tried to accomplish to win. The best umpires, guys like Bill, great umpires, and I really appreciated how they didn't let the major players dictate the game and get overrun by these players, because at that level, these players can try to be intimidating, and really appreciate how they took control of the game. I also want to thank my sponsors, Louisville Slugger, Hank Bassett and Harold Nichols, Mike Romas, Jim Holscheit, Mike in Sports, and they provided us with some really good products, and in order to attract the best players, you had to have really good products in the game. When I first started in softball, I was in my little hometown of Albertville, Minnesota, and the neighbor walked up and he wanted to know if I would sponsor a softball team. Well, that meant I played on the softball team, and if the selection committee knew how bad of a softball player I was, I would not be standing here. Because in slow pitch softball, a 290 average is not very good, maybe baseball. But my two most memorable moments as a player is I hit 2 home runs one time, and it was in a 280 field. The wind was blowing out about 30 miles an hour, and I hit it into the first or second row of the cornfield. So I was obviously not a very good softball player. But a guy came into my office one day. His name is Tim Cox, and he wanted to know if I wanted to sponsor the best team in Minnesota. And I quickly found out that he didn't have the best team in the state of Minnesota, but it was a very good team. And he had a lot of passion. I remember we went to our first ASA national tournament. He didn't make it to the games because he was in the hotel. He was so nervous that he had stomach problems and he was throwing up and stuff. But he had so much passion. He wanted to win, and he was such a nice guy. And I wouldn't be standing here if I wouldn't have gotten introduced to the to the, the competitiveness. I mean, I grew up a snowmobile racer, and I wasn't around, softball, but I really quickly, began to love it, and throughout the years, we won a lot of different championships. We had Jerry Boatwright, and I sponsored Serene Johnson's fast pitch team, one of the best fast pitch teams ever. I sponsored the Brad Ogadall's Mike and team. I don't know if you remember those guys. They played A ball, and they would come down here and play in Oklahoma, and they'd win many of the national championships, not at the top level, but at A or B. And half the team was either related or from the little town of Caledonia, Minnesota. And I thought it was such a, it was just nothing but guys with big hearts, and they played for free. They didn't play for the money. They really, really, represented our brand really well, and a lot of fun. There was a lot of good things. I want to talk about my favorite tournament that we ever won. It was in the year 2000, and Gary Jost was our coach. Gary played against us many years, and I finally got him to be part of our team. You sit around the towns up in Minnesota, and in some of the Spectrum team that Gary coached, they'll quickly remind me that they beat us 50 times in a row. Never could beat them. But very lucky that we got to talk to Gary and Teddy. They're here tonight. I really appreciate the support. Dan Pfeffer, my wife, and my lovely daughter. I have had a lot of support through the years in softball, but I want to talk about this tournament. It was in 2000, and we lost to a team called RPM. A little mouthy guy out of California ran the team. I don't remember his name, but he was pretty happy that he beat us. And that weekend in Lawton, Oklahoma, it was 114 degrees, and we lost the first game Friday night. Saturday morning, we were out there at 8 a.m., and we went through the losers bracket. We ended up winning the tournament. We ended up 9-1. But 114 degrees, we were drinking pickle juice, and our pitcher, Paul Drilling, got overheated, and he went back to the hotel, take a shower and cool off. And Teddy, one of the best pitchers to ever play the game, he was probably about 60 at the time. I'm not sure how old he was, but he was not quite that old. But he was quite a bit older, and he weathered the storm, And that weekend, Dennis Ruley, one of the best players to ever play the game, he's still winning and still playing at this day. He was the MVP, but in my book, Teddy was our MVP because he was the only one we had left that could pitch, and he was out there in that heat, and it was just tremendous. So, winning tournaments and going undefeated, it's a lot of fun and it's great. But I don't think there's ever a team that had more heart than that 2000 team, going 9-1 in 114 degrees, and it happened in one day. We walked off the field with our trophy at 3 or 3:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. It was the most incredible softball tournament that I've ever been a part in, and I'm really proud of those guys. Guys like Chris O'Hare, he played every game. Wes Campbell, there's some great dudes on that team, and we really got a lot out of those guys, and it was just a tremendous moment. The next year we got asked by Mr. Bassett to take over the big franchise Louisville Slugger team. And the year in 2000, when we had the team that won that ASA major, we played in 8 national championships and took first or second in either Super or A, either first or second. And we beat this Louisville Slugger team double-dipped them a couple times and knocked them out of the tournament. And they weren't very happy about that, and they needed to make a change. And the team was run by a guy named Mike Glasscock, and he was a tremendous coach. But his whole demeanor was he was trying to intimidate. He had the guy's mindset to intimidate everybody. Well, Gary and I and Bill Taylor and Brent Rhodes, we all get together, and I said, you know, guys, I would just as soon play, you know, major and not be part of a team that's just a bullying. And Gary assured me that we're not going to be part of a team like that. We're going to play with respect, and we're not going to be intimidating. We're not going to argue with the umpires, and we're going to go out and we're going to play good ball. And we did. We were 70-6 that year. We went 17-0 in postseason. I think it was probably the greatest team that ever played the game. You know, I'm biased, obviously, but it was a lot of fun, you know. And Gary demanded a lot of respect out of his players. And the very first tournament we played in Texas, one of the players got into it with an umpire, and Gary benched him right away, first tournament. And from that point on, you know, I think they played with a lot of respect, and I'm really proud to hear some of the players that played on that team say that was their favorite team they ever played on, and that means more to me than anything, is to you know, hear how they really appreciated playing for our team. And you know, I also want to thank Brett Helmer. He won us our last super tournament in 2000, I think, 14 maybe, something like that. Had a lot of great partners and sponsors in teams, and I really enjoyed the friendships I've made in this game. And I know there's no Hall of Fame for softball producers, but I really want to thank Joe Harowitz for his 15 years of dedication in the game. He's produced over 200 episodes of Softball 360. I really want to thank ASA for being, you know, letting us participate and enjoy, you know, the game of softball. And I really appreciate everything you do for the sport, and my heart's with you all. Thank you very much.
Our fourth inductee tonight packed a lot of power at the plate, sealing his place in men's slow pitch softball history. The only player in the history of USA softball to be named MVP in the 3 highest classifications of men's slow pitch softball, Ricky Huggins was a renowned Southern slugger. An 11-time All-American, he pitched his teams to a total of 9 USA softball national championships, 2 in the men's Class A and 2 in the men's major, and 5 in the men's super. He provided plenty of power at the plate, averaging a .650 batting average during those 9 title years, a feat which would earn him a spot on our USA Softball 1990s Team of the Decade. Slugging over 3,000 home runs through his storied slow-pitch softball career, his legendary swing also landed him a line of exclusive Worth slow-pitch bats. Tonight, Ricky becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame now and forever. Unfortunately, he was not able to be here with us tonight, so he sent in a few words that he would like for us to read as we accept this honor on his behalf. First, I would like to thank God for all the wonderful blessings bestowed on me and my family. I can't begin to tell you how much of a blessing and honor it is to be inducted into the National Softball Hall of Fame. I can tell you as a player, none of my accomplishments would have ever been possible without the many great sponsors, teammates, coaches, and bat manufacturers I was blessed to play with. My sponsor, Larry Thompson of Thompson Sporting Goods, Gary Hargis of Elite Coatings, Ken Sanders of York Barbells, Dave Neal of Steel Sports, Richard Howard of Howard's Western Steer, Artis Roofing, Vernon Dubberly of Vernon's and of Jacksonville, Florida, and Cecil Alford of the Great Lighthouse Team Worth. I was so blessed and fortunate that they gave me the opportunity to compete with them. My teammates, which are too many to list, were the absolute best in the game of softball. There isn't one championship or personal award I could have ever achieved without their blood, sweat, and competitiveness giving our team a chance. Such a great group of people from all walks of life are coming together as one to create great teams. Now I'm blessed to have our many memories together and cherish them forever as friends. I can only imagine that this had happened a few years ago before we lost Charles Wright, how he and I would be burning up the phone lines. Like so many players, Charles was one of the great ones. To me, I would have to say he was probably the best of the best. So many great ones we've lost before they had the chance to receive this award. And it was a sad day being a pallbearer at his funeral, but I'm sure he's smiling down. I also congratulate Todd and John, what deserving representatives of the game of slow pitch softball. These sponsors and players were part of the fraternity that made softball a household name. Their sacrifice, blood, and sweat were instrumental in putting ASA and any other association on the map from the 70s to the late 90s. I wish, like so many do, that the game would come back to the rules and regulations of those days. Once again, I thank you from the heart for this award. And last but not least, I would like to thank the folks who were responsible for nominating me for the Hall of Fame. Mike Schenk, Mike Mashenko, and Steve Dimitri, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope I didn't disappoint you by not being able to attend. Once again, I would like to thank everyone so much and wish for the inductees to have a great night. And Charles, I will be thinking about you.
Thank you, Cody. It is an honor to be here tonight to help celebrate our 2018 inductees and the game of softball. Our fifth inductee for the 2018 Hall of Fame class has a 13-year career that culminated with a spot on the inaugural men's slow pitch national team. Todd Jerling got his start when he was 14 years old after stepping in to play for his brother's team in order to avoid a forfeit. As the saying goes, the rest is history. He is a 16-time national champion who earned USA Softball All-American accolades 10 times during his storied career, including an MVP nod in 1999 at the Men's Super Slow Pitch National Championship. With more than 2,000 home runs hit during his 13-year career at the major level, his play also earned him a spot on the first ever USA Softball Men's Slow Pitch National Team, which defeated Canada at the inaugural border battle. While his achievements on the field speak for themselves, many refer to Jerling as a true ambassador of the game. Tonight, Todd becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame, now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Jerling.
Well, I'm definitely not a public speaker, so there's one place that I am comfortable, and that's on the field. So if you caught me in a field, I could probably talk your ear off, but I can't do it. I'm not very good at it here, so I had to write it down. First off, I'd like to thank USA Softball and the Hall of Fame Committee for selecting me. It's an honor and a privilege to be selected into the USA Softball Hall of Fame. I'd like to congratulate all the other inductees, especially Ricky and Charlie, who I had the honor of playing with and against. Ricky, you were one of the fiercest competitors and pitchers that I've ever faced. And Charlie, like everybody said, he was the best all-around third baseman in the game. My accomplishments in softball couldn't have been possible without the support of a lot of people. And it all begins with my family. The time and effort I spent preparing for the game was easily equaled by my wife, Brandy. For that, I thank you. I couldn't be prouder of my daughter, Darby, who continues to play softball at Missouri State University. She couldn't be here tonight, but I'm very proud of her for following in her dad's footsteps at the same university. My brothers and sister are my biggest fans. Numerous fans. I come from a small community also of, 150 people in, Missouri. And the community of Numali have supported me at all times. And I appreciate everything they do, either from babysitting when I had to travel or throwing batting practice. To reach this point in my softball career, it has taken a little bit of luck, a lot of hard work, and many learning experiences from some special people. Starting with my local T&D Tavern team, to Steele's, Lighthouse, Belcourt, Dan Smith Backman, and Gene Shop, highlighted by being selected to the inaugural Team USA. That is a very, I don't know how to put it other than an honor to put on the USA jersey. It's something else. In 1989, Dave Neal gave me an opportunity to play at this level, at the super level, with Steele's Silver Bullets. Not only did he give me a chance, but he taught me how to stay and win at this level. There were a lot of things to learn because from a small town to traveling across the country, and everybody wants your job, So it's hard to get there, but it's even harder to stay. My relationship with Woody and Pat Bell was special. After playing for Belcourt Easton, I learned that they were about commitment, honesty, and winning with class. I am fortunate to have played for Belcourt and Easton, and I hope I lived up to their standards. I would like to thank all of my teammates, past and present, especially Dan Shuck, Dirk Androff, who 21 years ago on this day passed away. Dennis Turner, and of course Brett Helmer, for their undenying friendship. In closing, I'd like to say that I played softball for the camaraderie it creates, the competition it fulfills, and the winning sensation. Knowing that we can't always win, after games and tournaments or a season are over, we should stop and look around and feel fortunate for what we see, and hopefully feel as fortunate as I am right now. Thank you.
Our next inductee is a highly respected mentor in the umpire community and always known for being the life of the party. Surprise. Loved by his peers and respected by teams, William Wild Bill Silvis was a highly respected USA softball umpire for more than 45 years. At the age of 18, he attended his first umpire school, which began a lifelong passion for the sport of softball. After putting in the work on the field, his skills earned him the opportunity to umpire at his first USA Softball National Championship at the 1979 Women's Major Fast Pitch National Championship, where he would be assigned to the championship game. His accolades continued as he got the call at 3 more USA Softball National Championships and several WBSC sanctioned events in Canada. While his on-the-field achievements show the amount of work he put into his craft, Bill is also well respected for his efforts to grow the umpire program off the field. Having served as an umpire-in-chief locally, regionally, and nationally, his commitments to the growth and development of umpires is second to none. Having served as an instructor at 27 USA Softball National Umpire Schools, Bill's infectious enthusiasm sets the gold standard for the USA Softball Umpire Program. Tonight, Bill, and yes, Wild Bill Silvis, becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Silvis.
Return of the, come on, return of the, oh my God.
tough ball game, Cindy, than any of this stuff. Well, we're going to a party, and something's going to happen. I don't know how this happened. We all came from small towns, you know. You guys don't even know where Skagit Valley is. I have to tell them Seattle, Mount Vernon, Vancouver, BC. It's a little teeny farm town log, and they wear cork boots around to the restaurants. I just wanted to be an umpire. And so I went to umpire school. And then in 1969, somebody talked me into doing fast pitch softball again. That's what hooked me. There's a lot of us out here that got hooked on fast pitch, but first I'll start off by saying I got to get these thank yous in. Thanks to the Hall of Fame committee. It's the toughest committee to ever be on. And they do discuss everything. I thank you so much. Tomorrow will be a great day in there for you guys. And I think I'm working on this USA softball. Remember, I was an ASA umpire for 45 years. I was in Region 15. We don't have ASA softball, and we don't have Region 15 anymore. But I'm getting used to it, and I understand why. But it's been a great ride. There's a lot of people out there. Ball players need a lot of help. Well, umpires need more. They need a lot of help, especially it all starts with the family, we said. Well, I got my family, Region 15 family. I got the Canadians here. They all say we're coming to a party. I've told Kevin it works, you know, so we live on the border. We umpire tonight in Canada. They come down and work in the U.S. tomorrow. It's been that way for 40 years. I came from the greatest fast-pitch league in the country. I'm prejudiced, but it's the greatest Northwest fast-pitch league. And you're talking about Jimmy Moore. You're talking about Pietnik. You're talking about Zach, all the great names in the world. They go, why do you want to umpire? I like to have a good seat. To watch Cindy play ball, I got the best seat in the world, behind home plate. You didn't need to worry. She wasn't going to go walk to first base. If it was close, let them swing, you know. They were the great players. I had the best seat in the house. Somebody goes, God, they throw the ball so fast. How'd you learn the strike zone? I can tell you I learned the strike zone by a Hall of Fame ball player named Butch Batt, and there's only a few people out there that can remember it. In the first time I did major fast pitch, and it come like I never seen anything. And I started ringing this pitch a strike. He says, Blue, that's not a strike. We don't throw it for a strike. Ooh, it's up about his eyes. They threw a rise ball. God, I never did know that. The next pitch is about that far outside, and they catcher. I'm a believer. Pitchers are great. I'd rather have a great catcher any day. Boom. Throw the ball back to the pitcher. Throw it. Blue. Now that's a strike. By the second inning, I had the strike zone. They got all that strike zone in the gosh darn book. It don't work. If they think the super slow pitch strike zone's the same as a rec Friday night game, it's crazy. It don't. And I got to thank a lot of other people out there. This is a thank you time. Some people aren't here with us. There's only a few people can remember these names. Andy Pendergrass sent me to my first national tournament. President of ASA. Great guy. Tommy Mason. How many people out there ever seen Tommy Mason or know him? One of the greatest clinicians at all times. The best. Them are the people that trained me. They go, because when umpires go to national tournaments, everybody goes and says, okay, have a great time, have a great time, have a great time. I'm not that way. Andy Pendergrass, the letter I get, says, you're going to the 1979 in Springfield, Missouri. I go, I'm just a kid. And you better be on the final game. He writes, I go, wow, pressure. From that day forward, you can ask every umpire that goes to the Olympics, and I'm lucky to have Lori Bish that I got to send. I didn't ask her. I just said, you better not screw up. You know, Brenda Terpstra, they're all here. They're all surprised me. I just wondered why we had 7 or 8 tables out there. They all flew in today for a party. So, and I got so many more thank yous. Joe Wilson, the commissioner. Craig, I could sign his name pretty good. One of the best commissioners. God dang it, Silvers, quit signing Joe's name. Mike Raymond that took over, and Rick Hansen from Washington State that built the program there up. And every one of you guys from Region 15, Region 9 now, but Region 15, it was easy to be on the national staff and be in charge. They were going to go to a party. In the Northwest, we do love to party. And I always said, you're going to a party and you might learn something. Remember, that's what softball is, isn't it? Wasn't it a party for all you guys? Huh? Wasn't it a party? You don't remember the games. You don't remember any of the games. You remember the trip there. You remember all the great times you had in the hotel. And that's what I said. When you look back now, when you're done, and all you remember is them great times. The national staff, 13 years, we argued in rooms, and I argued. Kevin Ryan, I don't know who's taking my place in arguing with you. They're probably afraid of it. But thank you for the great ride for 13 years. The umpires, Bob Stanton and Gil from Canada, and my great friend from Canada, Brian Van Oss, that can out-talk me. There's no borders in softball. If we had softball solve all them problems in Washington, D.C., we'd be done with it. We wouldn't have borders. It's a great thing. I'll take this time, you can see all them kids. I think it's the first trip, my whole family, my son, my daughter, and who said they had the grandkids here? Or they're a super grandpa? I'm the judge of who is a good grandpa. I am the best. And it's their first airplane ride they ever been on to come here. So, and my daughter, my son, my daughter-in-law, my son-in-law, one is corporate America, one's a redneck. And I tell you, and it's great if you've ever been there. And then the most important people in the world, or the most important one, is the redhead. Everybody knows she's over here. She says to the kids, when you get there, they wanted to go here and they wanted to go there, and Dad's not going anywhere. You don't know. I mean, every one of you guys out there are my dear friends, my family. He's not leaving the room. He's got friends he's got to shake hands with. I want to thank you. Craig, I'd like to get in one more debate with you. Lock the door. Take a good ass chewing. Nobody's ever had an ass chewing from Craig Christ. Right here. I have. I have the dearest respect for him. I love him dearly. And Craig, if there's 277 people come to an umpire school, I will run another one and bring 278. You remember that day? 276 umpires came to an umpire school. When I called for more material, and I said, we need 200, the phone rings the next day. Bill, when are you going to cut it off? I said, I'm not. Bill, when are you going to cut it off? I'm worried. I said, so am I. When are you going to cut it off? And they kept coming. It's the biggest umpire school in the history. I'd probably come back. We had a party. We had 8 fields, and he says, we don't have enough instructors. I said, bring the whole national staff. We don't care. I got in trouble, you know. It's a rule. I'm one of the umpires that don't like rules. If you think I don't like rules, I had a tournament where I let a guy use an illegal bat because I didn't carry a bat list with me because I don't understand. When I got in this game, you just had a bat, you hit. You didn't have a whole list of bats you had to find out. I've had to learn all that. In the first goddamn pitch, he hit it over the fast pitch fence. He hit it over the slow pitch fence, and it's still going. And they go, ooh, they say, we got a protest. They got an illegal bat. They got an illegal bat. Now we got to get the committee together. What are you going to do? I said, I don't know. You're going to throw him out of the game? I said, we can't throw him out of the game. I'll let him hit with it. Are you getting it out? No, we can't do that. I said, we're going to do it over. What? We're going to do it over. It's the only thing we can do. It ain't no book. That's Kevin Ryan. And umpires are the worst mouths there are. Within 20 minutes, my phone's ringing off everybody in the country. And I never call anybody, and they go, Silvis, did you have a do-over? At a men's fast pitch? I said, yeah. Well, Jesus, I can't believe it. It's 5 hours later, and Kevin Ryan never phones. He called, Bill, how's it going? You know how it's going, goddamn Kevin. Don't give me this. You didn't get an out? You did you throw him out of the game? No. You didn't even get anything? Kevin, where in the book does it say we're only going to follow part of the rules? And to get back to it, I looked at the deputy UIC and I says, go tell that umpire that we're doing it over. And I jumped on the golf cart and took off. And the deputy umpire chief, this is a true story. He goes out there and he said, Blue, we're doing it over. And he goes, what? We're doing it over. He says, we're playing with mulligans now in softball. I said, it's a good report. It's a good thing, but that's what it is. There's some other people that I've learned to love and that are really tough. You know, Henry used to be a great clinician and all them people, and I've been lucky to do the men's major quite a few times. And like slow pitch, a lot of people don't like them because the best sometimes are ornery, and I sort of like that because I'm sort of an ornery guy anyway. And they said, you're going to the men's major. I said, okay, who's my rep? Bill Humphreys. I said, this ain't going to work. And it ended up being one of my dearest friends, and I want to thank Hump. I don't know where you're at, but I love you dearly. And at 3 o'clock in the morning when you room with him and you're arguing about mechanics, you're not going to win. I'd like to thank some of the people like Tommy Wagner that wrote letters for me and things like that, because if you knew the Pay and Pack Peterbilt team, you knew it was one of the greatest. Because I come out here and, you know, you guys in the Midwest, all you want to tell me, we got the only fast pitch there is in this world, and we got the greatest. And I go, we happen to have a team in the 80s that wasn't bad. And so, and they taught me the game of men's major fast pitch. Like I said, all the people out there, they're wonderful. What else? I'm probably forgetting every one of them umpires out there that are there from around the country. But I was lucky. I got to help promote umpires and watch them go to world tournaments all over at the end. And I got to see the best softball in the world when it was played. And if everybody knew, put some emphasis in the men's game. It is the greatest gosh darn part of the game that made it, the men's game, and we're working to bring it back. If you've never seen men's fast pitch, it's a fantastic game, and is it not? It is. And I leave you with this. don't ever forget where you came from, because that's where you're going to end up, back home. So if you leave home and you never come back, you're going to miss something out. I'm a lucky guy. I can come back home because I never forgot where I came from. But to all the other inductees, congratulations. It's been the greatest ride in the world. Thank you.
You probably now know why his nickname was Wild Bill, right? Our next inductee is a two-time Olympic gold medalist who never lost a game at the Olympics. A two-time Olympic gold medalist and two-time world champion, Krista Williams, is one of the best pitchers to come out of the Houston area. Having already pitched the United States to a WBSC Junior Women's World Championship in 1995, Williams was the youngest member on the inaugural U.S. Olympic softball team in 1996 when the sport debuted in the Atlantic Olympic Games. Proving age is just a number, Williams went a perfect 2-0 in the circle, allowing no earned runs to cross the plate while striking out 15 batters in her Olympic debut. She followed with another 2-0 showing in the circle for the United States at the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney, Australia, as the United States claimed their second Olympic gold medal. In addition to her international accolades, Williams also made a name for herself at the national level, earning USA Softball All-American honors at the Women's Major Fast Pitch National Championship twice. Tonight, Krista becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Krista Williams.
I'm smart and strong and beautiful. Most girls work hard, go far, we are unstoppable. Most girls are fighting back every day. No two are the same. I wanna be like most girls. I wanna be like most girls. I wanna be
Wow. Okay. First, I think it's fitting that I'm following a great umpire because I feel like I give them hell all the time. So I'm sorry in advance. I'm going to probably struggle with this. I was typing this in my classroom one Friday, and I was crying in the middle of my classroom because I teach, and my students were like, "What is wrong with you?" So first, I would like to say thank you to the committee. I echo all the sentiments that have been said today or tonight, and that all the venues that y'all and everybody for ASA and USA that has always been just above average. It's been great. It's been a great experience from the very beginning. I'd also like to take the time to thank Stony Burke. I don't know where you're at, Stony, but thank you. Ron Radagonda, Don Porter, Ronnie Isham, Bear is what we usually call him, Polly McCormick, and Shirley. I don't know where you're at, but I appreciate all y'all's support through the years. It's meant a lot. I also want to congratulate all of my fellow inductees. It's a true honor to be a part of such a prestigious class. It's even more so to be introduced with one of the best teammates that I've ever had the privilege to play with. Crystal is the best power hitter that has played softball, and the only batter that I accidentally hit that I did, it was an accident, promise, that I was apologizing to her as she ran down the line because I was scared. Crystal, you were the best, and I can only imagine what you would have done. If you would have swung the bats that these kids swing today, God bless. Thank you, you did not. There are so many people to thank tonight. And as all of you know, we would never have made it to this point in our careers without so many people. While I'm standing here on the stage, I feel as though we're on the Olympic podium again. And I still have the same thoughts that ran through my mind tonight as I did in 1996 and 2000. We did it. All the teammates, coaches, friends, and family were all there with me as you are tonight in such a precious moment. While I grew up always dreaming of winning a gold medal, I can actually say I never thought of this moment. We played this game because we loved the game, not for the accolades, not for the money, clearly. We played it because we love it. We learned so many different things from it, how to coexist with others, our family. I've grown up so much. I wish I knew then what I know now. To all of my friends and teammates, I know I am not perfect, and I'm actually far from it. I've had people from my high school tonight. Not a lot of people can say that. Mr. Jamail, my principal, Coach Branch, who spent many of time arguing with me, and she was super hard. Mr. Emery Grad, who also married my husband and I. Talk about the absolute best. Being a coach in high school, now I hope you know the value you are to a kid. I can't thank you enough for providing me direction and a safe place during my high school years with Team USA, because I was so young. If I wouldn't have had them, there's no way I would have been able to make it, ever, because I was a senior in high school. To my teammates that had to deal with me, I can't thank you enough for putting up and pushing me to be a better person and player, most importantly for being there for me during difficult times and letting me know that there is sunshine past the clouds. Jane is one of my teammates that was there with me during my college years. She's in the crowd tonight. It was tough transferring in, and Jane had transferred as well. Her loyalty is simply the best, and I'm proud that I shared the field with people like Jane and all of my teammates at Texas. When I speak of loyalty, Jane would get in the box time after time, me hitting her, because she's left-handed, and I could not throw to lefties early in my career. And she still lets me know that I hit her all the time to this day. In fact, she did it today during lunch. But thank you for being that person. I guess it would be more of like the sacrificial lamb in that moment. When I speak of Texas, there are two names that without a doubt I couldn't have made it through my college years without, and that is Randa Ryan and Tina Bonsi. Randa was my academic counselor, but in reality she was over all of academics, but I considered her my counselor, my mentor. And let's just say she was my psychologist. The couch, Beanie Babies, her shoulder kept me going when I wanted to walk away completely. Tina Bonsi, unfortunately, is no longer with us, but she was my athletic trainer and kept me whole. She was a stubborn woman. There's not many as stubborn as her. And she would argue, and I had a good time watching her argue with John, Brian, and another one of our trainers, Chris, sorry. And it was fun watching her duke it out with other people that weren't me, for once. To the Daigles that are also in the crowd. One of the main inspirations of why I chose to coach. You're two of the very best coaches I've ever had. Those years are unforgettable. Your passion for both the player and person is what I have tried to live by every day when I work with my athletes. Both of you, even though you were so hard on me, at the end of the day, always gave me a hug and let me know that there was more to life than winning and losing. Thank you for holding me accountable and for always being there for me. And just a real quick side note about Miss Daigle. She's crazy. And I mean crazy, because when we were touring on the 96 Olympics, we had to play in Houston, and I had to pitch against that crazy lady. And she was my coach, remember? So it was kind of awkward. And she tried to bunt on me and it was a perfect game. So she's trying to ruin the perfect game. No, you weren't. Needless to say, I threw her out at first base. It's probably the only good throw ever made on a bunt. And she hit the base, fell down, they called her out, and she wouldn't talk to me for like a month. And you were out. Okay, so I just had to get that on record. Anyways, thank y'all. Edward, my shadow to so many, but to me was always, and is always my light. Like typical siblings, we didn't always get along, but we have always loved one another. I can hear my kids laughing at him. Sorry. It's crazy now that I look at us as adults. His daughter Tinley plays softball, and guess who coaches her? My brother, Edward. I know it was never easy being my brother. Being drug around from ballpark to ballpark and school to school. I know you sacrificed many things, Edward. I want you to know that I love you, and I couldn't have asked for a better brother. Tinley, I want you to know your dad is an amazing person, and I couldn't have asked for a better brother. Last but not least, my parents. Good luck with this one. Here we go. Whew. There are no words to tell you how lucky I am to have my parents. You sacrificed your own weekends and vacations for me. You never said anything but you were good enough to reach for the stars. Mom, while early on we realized you couldn't catch me, it sure didn't stop you from being able to pick my change up. She was one of the only ones that could do this. She would always say I would do something with my face differently. And I would get angry. And I would say, Mom, you really think people are looking at my face? They're supposed to be looking at my hip. They're not supposed to be looking at all that. But the point was, is she cared enough to try and help me. Mom, you put up with washing disgusting uniforms and not turning them pink, thank you, that my dad did. And making dinners to have Dad and I be late almost nightly. You would sit in the stands cheering and yelling at umpires to show your support. Most importantly, Mom, your strength as a woman and mother is what has made me the person I am today. Dad, one of the few that I can actually say that still caught me at the very end of my career, because he's also crazy. I don't catch my daughter right now, and I don't know how. It has been a journey from you entering me into the USA selection process and me telling you that you were crazy to now. All of the hours that we spent pitching together and having our talks. I'll never be able to repay you for knowing exactly what to say and what to do at the precise moment when it was needed. I'm sorry for all the broken toes and fingers and laughing about it. Thank you for sacrificing your life for putting me before yourselves, and more importantly, in believing me when I didn't. I hope that one day I'm half the parent that my parents were to me, to Kendall and Callie. Sorry. Together, my family sacrificed everything for me. Thank you for being there always, and I love you. And lastly, to my two girls, Kendall and Callie. I'm so glad that you're here to share this moment with me. I want you to know you are my gold medals. I hope when you sit here tonight that you realize that you can do whatever it is you wish to do in your life if you work hard. I love you both, and I hope that you always chase your dreams. Thank you, everyone.
Last but not least, our final inductee for the 2018 Hall of Fame class is considered by many to be one of the top 5 players to ever play men's slow-pitch softball. Between 1993 and 1997, Charles Wright played for some of the top men's slow-pitch teams in the country. Known for his smooth play at third base and his power at the plate, Wright earned USA Softball All-American honors 12 times and twice earned MVP honors at the Men's Super Slow Pitch National Championship. Playing for legendary teams like Steele's Sports and Rich's Superior, Wright's top performance came in the 1986 season when he led the country with 503 home runs while hitting an astounding 771 batting average throughout the year. He was also a member of the 1992 Rich's Superior Squad, which was the first team ever to win every major title, also known as the Grand Slam in slow pitch softball. Statistics don't lie, which is why many consider Wright to be in the top 5 of all-time greatest slow pitch softball players in the history of the sport. Tonight, Charles becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame now and forever. Sadly, Charles passed away in 2011. So accepting his Hall of Fame honor on behalf of his brother, Paul, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Wright.
Wow, Krista Williams, what a pitcher she was. I was watching Krista when she came to Columbus in the 1996 Olympics, and she pitched 2 shutout games, and man, I mean, nobody could hit her. She couldn't score. Nobody could score. She had awesome 2 games, and I know that was a fabulous experience for her. It was a fabulous experience for me for just watching, but that was awesome. I need to take time to thank Ricky Huggins for the kind words he said to my brother. Ricky, I played with Ricky. I was a teammate of his in 1981, and Ricky was an awesome ball player. He played third, and I played short for Elite Coating. And we won the ASA World Championship that year in 81. Ricky was the MVP, and I know Ricky, I hope he's watching tonight. I just want to tell him I love him, and I'm very proud of him, and I hope I see him when I get back to Georgia. And Ricky wanted me to tell Todd something. Todd said, Ricky said, I talked to Ricky this morning at the hotel, and he said he remembers that line drive he hit off of his knee in Sanford, Florida, about 20 years ago. And he had a few edges put in there. But I want to tell Todd that, and I appreciate you saying what you said about Charles too, Todd. But this is the second time I've done this in 2 months. Charles was elected as Hall of Fame in his high school in Columbus, Georgia, Jordan High School. And that was just 2 months ago. But I just want to tell y'all what a great brother he was, what a teammate he was. I was fortunate to play with him for, 4 or 5 years with Ken Sanders in the lead, and I played against him 4 or 5 years. But I tell you what, I won more games playing with him than I did against him. But it was such an honor to play with him. Don't too many brothers play on the same team anymore. I played short, he played third, and I mean, every weekend, across the country, every weekend, just, you don't realize how special that was till after you leave the game. But I do want to tell one little story. We were playing in 1984 in Cleveland, Ohio. I was at shortstop, and Charles was third base. And I made 2 errors in the top of the 7th inning in that game. I made 5 errors the whole year. But I made 2 in the top of the 7th inning, like to cost us the game. But we won, come back and won. So we're getting ready to go back to the field for the championship game. And we're outside the dugout. And the coach said, anybody got anything to say before we go out and win this championship? And Charles said, yeah, I got something to say. He says, what does Paul Wright and Michael Jackson have in common? And I said, where is he going with this? He said, they both were a glove on their left hand for no apparent reason. But, I mean, 2 easy plays I made 1,000 times. But anyway, yeah, he has some great stats. 503 home runs in 1 year was awesome. And the 5th best player in history. I mean, you think about how many millions and millions of men play softball, and he is the number 5 best player in the world in the history of softball. But I want to thank the committee also, and for making this happen for Charles. I just wish he was here. I really do. Because I miss him a lot. But I'll see him again. But thank y'all. Thank you to the committee. I appreciate y'all, and appreciate y'all flying me out here and put us up in the hotel all the way from Georgia. And thank y'all so much.
Woo! They get me every year, you guys. Waterproof mascara, the key. Oh, what a fantastic evening hearing the stories and memories from years of outstanding play and their commitment to the sport of softball. So let's give our 2018 Hall of Fame class one more round of applause, everyone. Yes. And congratulations on your very much deserved honors, every single one of you. Reading your accomplishments, hearing others. It's what an amazing evening, and I just want to thank everyone so much for attending tonight's banquet. This has been hands down one of my best experiences that I've had at a Hall of Fame banquet since I've started here in 2011. So thank you so much. At this time, I want to go ahead and invite all of our inductees to come to the front of the room here. We're going to take a class photo of everyone together. So please, if you guys can, start making your way on up here. We'll give you your plaques and your Hall of Fame rings. And then all of our guests, I would just please ask that you wait until we've taken everyone's photo together as a group before coming on up here, so that way we can get everyone together before you start making them cry again. So thank you all so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see everyone tomorrow at the council meeting. Thank you all.
And furry coat, she ran down the forest slopes, the forest of talking trees. They used to sing about the birds and the bees. The bees had declared a war. The sky wasn't big enough for them all. The birds, they got help from below, from dirty ponds and the creatures of snow. Scared down in their homes. The forest that once was green was colored black by those killing machines. But she and her furry friends took down the queen bee and her men. And that's how the story goes, the story of the bees with those 4 dirty paws.
And in my bed I hear the clock tick